Welcome to another episode of Classic Talks, where we subscribe to a next play mentality, engaging in crucial conversations, challenging each other to take our very next step, sharing common knowledge to improve common wealth, becoming a clearer version of ourselves so that we can embrace growth. We must accept the process so we can appreciate the outcome, one conversation at a time. I am Dr. Classic. Let's talk about it. Yo, what's happening, Mr. Finance? I like that, man. You such a smooth dude. I'm glad that you're here this morning. Good Christmas Eve morning. One of the best mornings. Actually, this is my favorite day. It ain't really even Christmas. I do so much on Christmas Eve that this get me right into the spot I need to be in. What's happening, Mr. Finance? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there, man. Good start to my morning. I got to the gym. I've been getting there early every morning. I'm on a 3-week span now of doing AM workouts versus I kind of get to the PM when I allow myself to get to the PM. AM is set in stone. Once I'm there, I'm there.
Hey, three weeks, it takes 21 days to form a habit. So you good.
Yeah, I'm going to get up and work out in the morning.
And if you can double back at night, that's even better, you know?
Yes, that 2 a day. You sounding like an athlete over there.
Man.
Well, we made it. We made it to Christmas Eve. 2020 has been a year. How do you close out your year? How do you close out 2020? What are we going to do at the end of this year that's worth the reflection, worth the advance going in 21? I'm not a resolutions person, but I do set goals. So I already started some of my New Year's resolutions. So I'm going to work on that. But what's your plan, man? What's your end of holiday, into 2020, into Q4? We know we talking finance. We put it in quarters. What did it look like for you closing out?
For me, it's just being thankful, being very blessed to make it through this year. I lost some family members to some death and all that. But overall, it's just getting through and realizing what I'm thankful for and what I'm appreciative of.
Yeah.
And the relationships I have in my life, my family, all the blessings, right? Having an essential career, being able to maintain, because a lot of people lost their way this year.
Yeah, essential gay. We have a totally new definition of essential this year. What's really essential? People being productive versus busy. How people sit down with their family, their mind, time. This year has been I posted the other day. I'm blessed for 2020. It gave me my sight back. I was thinking about it at the gym today. There's a lot of complaint about just kind of where we are. And don't get me wrong, we have tons of things that we can complain about. Just even what we've seen happen with the Black Lives Matter movement, just the poor leadership from our government, many distractions that have taken course this year. There have been a lot of great things to come out of all of that. Mm-hmm. I was watching the news, and in the gym, they have all those screens on the back wall and you can't really hear them, but you reading the subtitles and trying to follow along with the story as best as possible. I was looking at some of the credits, like even just NFL. NFL's music is being produced and hosted by DJ Khaled. You know what I mean? Like, since when do they even let us into those atmospheres? All of the players, most of the players are Black. You know what I mean? Right. We should have people that represent that, but we have gotten so many sponsorship and time in places. I mean, if you think about the US Open, like, we got so many sponsorship this year that those conversations made it to people's house, whether they wanted to have them or not. Whether they were good conversations or good endings, whether people learn from them or not. I think that was the point. People are having conversations this year that have changed hearts, that have sustained how people feel about whatever they've been feeling. But I'm grateful for this year all the way around. I've seen people get to places and seats that they would have never gotten to if we were just going off the old town road type of mentality.
Yeah, absolutely. You're saying corporations, sports, entertainment, they're all making leaps and bounds to be inclusive now, right? Of course, they should have always been inclusive. So I do think it's a good thing. We should see a lot of differences coming. But on the same side, it's kind of bittersweet because it took a lot of major injustices for you to realize that we are people too, and that we need to be treated equally, right? So I'm excited just to see where this goes and to see what this looks like moving forward for us. But also, on the flip side of that, we have to do better too, right? So this is the climate where we're now in the limelight. So let's put our best foot forward. Let's make sure we're doing the things we need to do to be better off and to make those advancements and participate in what they're letting us participate in now.
Right. And you clearly said letting us not, and I hear it loud and clear. Even just to pin in on, we have to do better. And I understand the sentence coming from you, and I agree with the sentence coming from you. We do have to do a lot better. It's like that. Once you break through a ceiling type of thing and you get to that seat, you have to do well, especially as a Black person, because we don't want to close the seat out for anybody coming behind us. And when I think about that, I had a loss last week. A really good guy, dude. Like, he has shot all of the most memorable moments of my life thus far. But besides Portrait Innovations, he's the only professional photographer I've ever used. And he's just been a good guy. I've been a supporter of his work and what he's done. Come to find out, he's painted a picture for my partner and her deceased father. And just to see him go the way he went, the first thing I thought about was, man, we got to do better. Like, it was at the hands of our own, and it's for no reason. Like, we have enough stacked against us. We can't do it to ourselves. And I'm not saying do it to anybody, but we can't be the people that are making it hard for us or harder for us to keep climbing, because it's already a difficult climb. It's already an uphill battle. So how much more can you add on to somebody's plate? It can't be from somebody that look like me. I don't expect you to do something to me across the table, like support me, help me, or don't deal with me. I'm okay with that too. Don't deal with me, period. But the way that we handle each other, the way we conduct business, whether we get into customer service, the way we think about finances, money, you talk about it all the time. We have to change our mindset. We have to get into a different mentality this year. 21 needs to be a mindset of just connection and understanding what's your true art. Like, what are you going to get into that's going to have a passion, a drive for you to be able to say, I'm working on something that's important, and now I can give you value out of my life story.
I totally agree with that. It's unfortunate what happened to Rob. Matter of fact, he painted my brother John Dub. He painted a portrait for him that's hanging up in his condo. Really talented guy. I was fortunate to meet him in some of the events in your life. But I don't have any words for this. This is unacceptable, right? And on one end, we're yelling Black Lives Matter, but then in the other end, Milwaukee's approaching, if not exceeding 200 murders this year, right? Things haven't been like that since the late 80s, early 90s when crack was at its the height. So I don't know what it's going to take. I like to put all my energy in focusing on those coming up now, the youngsters and, elementary, middle, high school, early college, trying to get a hold of them, because a lot of people that's out here that's committing these heinous acts and these crimes, they're already who they're going to be, unfortunately. And we can't save everybody. The government's not here to save us. We got to save ourselves, right? So my energy and my focus goes on those coming behind me, making sure that they understand everything. They have the right mindset, making sure they understand that they have resources and what this could look like moving forward. That's all I'm focused on, because if I were to just sit home and ponder everything that's going on right now and all the losses I've had that's came to violence and senseless violence at that, right, I would lose my mind. I don't have any time for that.
Right.
None at all.
And you're not wrong. Before coming into corporate operations for healthcare, I was in education. I was in education most of my life. And you really do see an evolution of a kid. You see an evolution of a middle schooler. You see an evolution of a high schooler. And those are pivotal transitional points, like going from elementary to middle school. That 7th grade year, man, 7th graders, and I love my babies, but they the worst, because they really trying to figure their little self out. They ain't even got to figure their adult self out. They just trying to figure out their young self. But I've seen, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, that is where the connection can be made, and we can figure out how to help people be themselves. What I see out here is a lot of people just doing it for the clout. A lot of people doing it for the streets. A lot of people don't really know how to insert who they are into their environments, into their communities, to be a value or a resource. We insert ourselves to do something more dumb than the person who taught us how to do something dumb. You know what I mean? Like, for the life of me, and I don't have, the bone to, well, let me not say it that way. I don't have the want or the drive to completely throw somebody else off of their path, or, you know, murder somebody, or I don't have the in my mind, it's not in my forefront. Like when I walk out, I don't see a nice car and say, how can I steal that one? In my mind is, I want something nice. How can I work to get to that one? And I want us to think about that as just a collective people. If it's something that you want, it's a way to get it. We have to realize that there is going to be work here. I think what happens too is these quick lives, these quick moments, all of our journeys are just interchanging and crashing into one another. Like for Rob's sake, and I'm hearing the story just like you hearing the story. The news had it all wrong, and you hear from the streets, and it sounded like it was about his car. You know what I mean? Why is that the value? Like the value sometimes it goes against our value. Like you can have my car. If that's what you can have my truck, you can have my motorcycle, take all of that. If that's what the cost of my life is, I would give that up. And I think Rob would have did the same. And I'm really sending a message out to people who think like that. Like if you think like you need to go and take something from somebody, you need to knock somebody off their path, like you're never going to get to that payday. Even if it comes to you and you think it's monetarily, just even dealing with people on a day-to-day basis, your consciousness, your mind, man, it just tears you apart. Like it works on you, it wears on you. It makes it to the point where you don't feel like you need help and you never go get it. And you sit in this real shallow place, which probably adds to more of the damage that you do as a person. We need to be ourselves. We need to get help when we need help. We need to heal. This is a community that needs to heal. Milwaukee in general, when I think about where I grew up, I've never seen a healing all the way around from Milwaukee. We just switch the savageness. So it used to be this. Now it's, you know, when we grew up, man, we respected elders. Wasn't nobody knocking down your grandmother.
Right.
You know what I mean? Slapping the elders and shooting them and killing them and leaving them on the side of the road. Like them just elders. And nobody taking our women. Us, we weren't taking women and throwing them into trafficking and like us. We weren't doing that to each other. Now it's like a whole new set of cards. I don't even know how to play the game in the streets no more.
I'm glad I don't know how to play the game in the streets anymore. But it's one of those things where I think these last few generations, excluding us, so if you want to say, I don't know, whatever it's after millennials or Generation X, whatever, I don't want to get into that, but they're into this whole instant gratification thing. So they want things now. They don't understand the importance of hard work and work ethic. Hard work never killed anybody. That's what my parents used to tell me, right? So they just want it now. And then you put that on top of the extrapolation of social media and people always posting stuff like, oh, it's lit, we balling, I'm on. You know, all these things where you seeing people putting their best foot forward, but little do you know that person might have been scheming to get that. They might be off at home. They might be staying in the basement of grandma's house, you know, but they're going to post it. Or they drinking big bottles. They out at the club or this, or you get what I'm saying? So people that come up and the youngsters that come up and have no guidance, there's no guidance at home or no consistency at home. They idolize that. So they're moving towards that. So they want to get that as fast as possible by any means necessary. And it's coming all the wrong way.
All the wrong way. And to the listeners out there, and the reason why we do this is we are looking to change that mentality. Like the next play mentality is about getting to the next thing. I talked a little bit about scrolling. Scrolling is not, if you don't know who you are before you start scrolling, you're conforming. You're conforming to what has the most likes. You're conforming to bad ideas. You're conforming to bad, fads and trends that are going to fall out. You know what I mean? And people,
that's a jewel there. That is a jewel. I've never heard it articulated like that. That is a jewel.
That's where you learn. That's where you teach yourself who you are. You got to know who you are before you scroll. And I've been victim to that. I had to watch a couple of things like to really understand like how social media is a monster in itself. Social media aligns your thoughts for you and try to think for you. It's almost like, where's artificial intelligence coming from? Eventually they're going to be able to have our own little avatars that really understand how we think. They're going to always know where we want to shop, what we going to do when we get on Facebook. Like we have to we almost get into that mindset of thinking that scrolling is understanding and knowledge. It's the farthest thing away. When people take time, even myself, I'm a marketer. So I'm trying to put the best product forth. I'm doing, the bells and whistles. I'm making sure it's content, key drivers at the bottom of the screen. I want to make sure the logo is everywhere so you remember us. Like, people take time into the post. Think about that perfect picture that people, I finally got my vacation. I finally got my car. I finally started my business. What they didn't post was the process. Mm-hmm. We can't jump to that outcome. You can't jump to that nice media post. Like, you can't jump to that session in your life. That process is dire important. And if we don't appreciate the process, just like you said, if we don't appreciate that hard work, if we can't be consistent, we are going to start stealing from each other. We are going to start killing each other, because it's never going to just pop up. And I think if people are waiting on it to just pop up and fall in your lap, then you're going to be out here doing things you ain't supposed to do. Because when you scroll, those outcome pictures had a process to it. And if you don't respect whatever the process was, that's not your outcome. Stop comparing what you got going on to other people. That's the easiest way to unhappiness, the easiest way to being unsatisfied, unsettled.
Oh, absolutely. It creates anxiety because you can't keep up with the Joneses, right? I think I said this before. Jordan Belfort, so the guy from Wolf of Wall Street, said this, and this was on a documentary. It's not from the movie, but it was the real Jordan Belfort. He said that an overnight success, you see it happen and it looks overnight, but it's really 10, 15, 20 years of grinding, of failure behind that. And then he also went on to say that, you do get rich quickly, right? So people always try to discredit that mantra. Oh, you don't get rich quickly. You do get rich quickly, but it feeds back into the thing he said. It says it's like you're grinding, pushing. And then finally that light switch hits, and then the money flows in, or whatever it is you're doing, the value you're producing gets out there, the content gets out there, and the floodgates open. But people are forgetting that process behind that. Like you said, the process, the grind, all of this. Yeah, when it happens very quickly. But that's years in the making.
Yeah. And to the point, and we always trying to leave some very tactical strategies on this podcast, we have to start putting stuff down on paper. I tell you all the time, I don't go into business with people that want to be rich tomorrow. If you can't sit down and hold yourself, like, there are certain things that I know my business, it can't cover it in revenue. Like, I'm not making enough revenue to cover certain expenses or certain things that I would like to see happen or do all of the bells and whistles. So I have to know that. And that has to be in my vision and my planning and goals on, what do I need to work towards to invest this amount? How do I need to get there? Like, if we keep disrespecting the visioning process, and I'm calling it disrespecting because you can imagine and dream all day. I think God gives that to us as a gift. Like, just imagine and dream and let your mind take you where you want to be. Until you put something down on paper, or until you envision something or get it to a place where you understand what the route or path is. And it might not be paper for you. You might get online and just type yourself some notes. I'm saying pull that vision into a place where you can start having some things to work off and cross off your checklist. It's the only way that you're going to start, one, accepting the process, because that's the process. Everything you wrote down is a part of the process. You're going to start appreciating the process. It feels good. You taught me this, like, win the day. It feels good to win the day. Mm-hmm. When I go to the gym, by the time I get done with the gym and it's only 8:00 and I can jump into my first conference call. I can jump into my first meeting. I can meet with a client. Like, I'm firing on all cylinders. I already start winning the day. Now my bed made up, like you taught me to make the bed up. My office clean. You know what I mean? Like, I feel good. Little incremental wins. Now imagine me crossing off something big. Like today I got to my 45,000 client follower. Like I was shooting for 45. Now imagine you crossing off those big goals because you were consistent every day at winning a day or being 1% better. Right. Bingo.
I love that. And, I meet with my business coach and mentor every Monday, and he's very inspirational in my life and my success and doing what I'm doing. But it's all that type of talk and accountability, let's list down the things we expect to happen, how we want our life to look, right? And let's tie those to emotions and feelings. Don't tie that to money, right? So say, for instance, if for next play mentality, a success or a benchmark for you is getting to 10,000 followers, right? Okay, so that's the number behind it. But what does that do to your life, right? And that's the emotion you got to tie that to. If I got 10,000 followers, I'm probably making X because they're clients. So my lifestyle, my daughter, my significant other, they are able to do Y,
Right.
My day looks like this. I have this much time free because of this. Once you start tying it to the emotion, then that's when it gets powerful. Because so often we're all just taught, how I want to make a lot of money. You list that down. That has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
Let's tie that to an emotion, and let's imagine and document what our life will look like and why this is important.
Yeah.
I need my business to do good over here
Yeah.
because that's going to give me financial freedom over here. My daughter can go to whatever school she wants to without worrying about it. I can travel when I want.
Right.
I free my time, all of those things. And I think a lot of people skip those steps. And the thing you have to remember is that the easiest way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. It's those small little bricks that you lay every single day. It feels like you're going nowhere. But when you look back 36 months, or 72 months, you're like, man, I done came a long way. And I made a lot of progress.
Yep. And let's be honest, and I want to give a shout out to Teslin. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. Figaro, have you heard of her? She has the Straight Shot, No Chaser podcast. It's on the
I haven't.
It's on Charlamagne's The God's Black Podcast Network, but she is her own mantra and brand. She's on, CNN, and, she speaks up there with the best of them, but I think she's from California, if I'm not mistaken. What she does is try and bring down her conversation to a level where even if you don't understand politics, I'll make it about, Crips and Bloods, let you know how OGs work, let you know how, the little street runners work, like, who are the people in the office that make sense to what your life is. So I really mess with her because she is Straight Shot, No Chaser. I heard her this morning and she was going in about something. I must have joined the conversation late, but I brought her up to say, you brought up a big point about emotions. Let's take it one step further too. I like to put insurance plans around my emotions, right? And let me break into it a little bit. There are things that I know I want to do in my life. I want to have a successful coaching business. I want to have a successful podcast that connect people. I want to have, my business is a creative connection entertainment company. I want to provide creative connection for any person that's willing to be connected. I want to do that, right? There are things that I want to do, and there are things that I do because my emotion drives those. My behaviors are already aligned with what I believe, and my emotions are taking the driving wheel. They're taking the steering wheel. They're in charge. How do you really start to vision out? We talk about vision, write stuff down, and then put in place what you don't want to sacrifice to do it, because that list is the most important list. When people think, I'm gonna work out every day after the new year, but you didn't take nothing off your list. You gonna still eat the way you eat. You gonna still drink the way you drink. You gonna go to sleep late every night and try and get up and work in the morning. Like, we stack things on our list without also thinking about the emotions or what I call them vices or whatever it is that's not gonna stop. That's what we need to be working on. If I had a goal list, it would be to work on all of my vices and what I can sacrifice and leave behind. Because you and I both know if we gonna level up, something got to stay on a level below us. It's inevitable. Mm-hmm. I heard it on the Stephen Furtick said it. Every time I feel like I'm having a celebration, there's also a funeral. And what he meant by that is you may lose something may die, something may leave your plate when you gain new things. And it's almost like we had this pandemic this year, everybody shut down, people losing jobs and everything, but the world is woke. The world is waking up to the fact that, Black people are important. Their lives should matter, and we need to change it from the outside in. So there's celebration to say, we're being heard. We're trying to get to another place, another level. And at the same time, the world is locked in and something died this year. People didn't get to spend Thanksgiving together. Christmas won't be the same. Zoom has been making $1 billion because we zooming all around the world. There's always a give and take. And if we get really serious about our emotions, we need to get serious about what we need to sacrifice. What is going to stand in our way from meeting those goals? What person, what thing, what time, what capacity, what fear? Because that's the other thing too. We'll get into a place where we see how great we can be and we'll sabotage ourselves. That's scary to think about how great you can be. Think about you. Today you got to walk into your boss office and say, I'm working for myself. If you would like to be a client, I can talk about it, but I'm leaving. Yeah. You eat everything you kill from now on out. That's a scary thing. So people will stay, hunkered down in their positions not to get up out. I'm not quitting my job. This is every day, all day. It's going to happen. That's a scary place. And if we can't address fear, failure won't have to kill us. Fear do it.
That's the, that's a great point that you just made. And a lot of people are uncomfortable And you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable to make a change.
Yeah, it's the only way you're gonna grow out of that comfort zone.
When you wake up, you're putting something else to bed. So if things are really important to you, you will find a way and not an excuse. And as simple as that. And like my business mentor told me, like sometimes you got to break this down to even smaller pieces, and you got to manage the hour, right? So forget win the day. Sometimes you got to break this down to hour by hour. Like, what did I do this hour that was productive in moving me forward? Did I spend 32 minutes scrolling? You know what I'm saying? Out of that hour. So when you start breaking things down very incrementally, that's where that discipline comes in. If you want to lose weight, you want to do all this, but you steady reaching for that cheesecake, or you steady reaching for a second plate or a big helping size, at Thanksgiving at Christmas, then how important is that really? Oh, because you're going to say, oh, I can give myself an excuse. It's the holidays, my family here. Nah, bro. If it's really that important, you're going to work through that. You're going to say, I'm going to enjoy a little bit of this because I can. This is within my realm. But I'm not going to go overboard. I don't need extras. I don't need anything. I'm mostly here for the love and camaraderie. You get what I'm saying? And it's just the little things like that. And the secrets to success is found in your daily routine.
That consistency, boy.
Consistently.
Show up every day. Touch it every day. You ain't wrong. Every day.
If you're not going to sleep and waking up looking at your vision written down somewhere, I don't care if it's in your phone, your tablet, it's written down on paper, it's next to your bed. I don't care. If you're not going to sleep and waking up looking at that and then reflecting on your day and saying, what did I do today to get me a step closer? Because now you're holding yourself accountable. You're holding a mirror up and it's nobody else watching you. Your spouse, your old lady don't care. Your husband don't care. Your boss don't care. This is about you. And people got to be the driver of them. And it's a hard calling, and that's why everybody won't make it. Everybody won't reach their pinnacle of success because they don't want to do the work. But let me tell you something. It's hard either way. Either you're going to live a life of regret saying, I wish I should have, could have, or you're going to be like, man, I did this, and I had to sacrifice all this. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather have the latter.
You're so on point. You and I talk about it offline, but my biggest fear is to get to my judgment day, and I'm faced with who I could have been. You know what I mean? Like I just didn't work hard enough to get to where I was supposed to be. And as soon as you said mirror, I had already had in my head, I was like, you know what? The best Christmas gift for me to give myself and for people to get themselves is a mirror. Like we have to stop two things. We don't have to necessarily be hard on ourselves and criticize ourselves until we in like a depressive place, but we need to be realistic with ourselves. Like there are things that we never going to accomplish the goals that we set out and we know we not because it's something with us that we haven't addressed. That mirror is going to be essential. And we talked about that word. It's essential in your growth. Like hold up the mirror and see what it is. Can you do a little bit more? Can you be 1% better? Can you get to a place where every day, 1%? If today I didn't ask one person how they doing, tomorrow, let me just start off and have a real genuine conversation with being like, how is somebody else feeling? If today I didn't make up my bed, you know what I mean? Tomorrow, I need to make up my bed tomorrow. Like just 1% better, small increments, just being better and mirroring the change your life and mirroring the change you want to see. So many people always want to give people the change. Like, Jared, I need you to do this, be different, change that. And I still want to be who I am. The way to change people is you start with the change. If you think it's a good enough change for people to adapt, reflect that. I don't believe in luck. I believe in energy. I know it all day when it's going to work. I know it all day when it's not. It's the energy for me. So for me, it's that 1% better every day. Keep that thriving energy. Like I can't tell you how excited and happy I've been this year. I've had survivor's remorse for some of it because I'm out here talking about what a great year has been. You know what I mean? And some people that this was a year that changed their life for the worse. It's been a great year with all the loss, with all the casualty, with all the stuff that happened with the pandemic, all of Black Lives Matter information. It's been a wonderful year. And the one thing I got back was just my understanding and sight. Like I can look at things from different lenses. I can have good conversation, crucial conversations, critical conversations, and really hopefully impact somebody. I always say I don't plan to be the person that's going to change the world, but I do want to be the person that impacts the mind that does. It's important to me.
Absolutely. And, for those that follow me on any of my social media handles, what I post is primarily, so it is about finance, but it's more of, hey, you can do this too, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm putting the information out there because it's public information. We have access to resources, and use me as a resource, use me as a sounding board. Like, you can be great. You can get this stuff together. You can get your life together on every single level. Yeah. And it's not hard to do. It just takes some discipline and some consistency.
Yeah.
You can't be successful without discipline.
Nowhere can you, even if you touch success, you can't sustain it if you're not disciplined. Like, you can destroy it quickly. And I'll make sure I put all of the links and everything in the chat. People look at people like Mr. Finance. If you hear somebody like Mr. Finance say, use me as a resource, and he's giving you his handle, like, DM this guy. I know we in DMs for a lot of reasons. DM somebody about some money. DM somebody about some learning around finances and money, and what is your due process? We look around and we watch people get rich, and we can have the same exact benefits if we really just ask the right questions, if we really get in the right circles, change into the right environment. So I'll make sure that that's out there. There is professional coaching available between the two of us. There is, awesome insights about investments, about, finances. Like, don't let this be the reason. And both of us provide free consultations. We provide free strategy sessions. If it don't work for you, it don't work for you. But at the same time, let's make sure we can't win together. So I'll make sure all the information is in the chat. Reach out to Mr. Finance, man. Listen, I talk to this guy about anything and everything, and he'll be a straight shooter. If it ain't his lane, or he can connect you with somebody else, he connects you with somebody else. So get involved with Mr. Finance and figure out what's out there that you really can get a hold of, and start to see your circle or circumstance change. That's a big deal. Thank you.
Absolutely, Kenyon. And it's one of those things. It's like, it's just like when you're dieting or when you're getting in shape. Finances are the exact same, or personal coaching works the exact same. Like, it's hard to take that first step, but once you do that and you're disciplined to do that, and you say, I'm going to commit to this. A commitment is different than a goal. A commitment is, you're going to do this come hell or high water, right? Right. And you start to see those results, whether you're losing weight, you're gaining muscle, you're getting in shape in the gym, or you're starting to see your money accumulate in the stock market. You start to feel differently. Now we're back to connecting to that emotion, right? Feel differently. Right. When you start to feel differently, you're going to continue to do that. And that feeling gets bigger and bigger. You get more confidence, you get more success out of that. And now you can check that off your box. Okay, I'm losing weight. I'm getting the body that I used to have back in check. Check. Yep. Just because you check that off don't mean you stop doing it, but that becomes something that you no longer have on your list of measures or benchmarks, because that should be an autopilot, right? Okay, I wake up every morning at 5 o'clock, I work out. I've been doing that consistently for a year. I like the results. I'm not going to put that on my goals or things that I want to do, because that's already ingrained in who I am, in my DNA now. Right. Now you move on to the next thing and say, okay, maybe I need some business or professional coaching. I sit down with Dr. Classic. I go through a few sessions, check. Okay, I got that on there. Now, that's not something I stop, but that's something I keep doing because it's keep growing me. And that's how you grow. Once you accomplish something, you don't stop doing it. It just becomes part of who you are. And that's how you grow overall. And the next thing you know, you're the best boss or best employee, best spouse, best sibling, best parent, and people are like, oh my God, how does this person do this? One of my biggest nightmares is that at my funeral, and I hope it's later than sooner, right, when my eulogy is being read, it's nothing on there about, this is so-and-so's son, went to high school here, went to college here, he worked here for 40 years, and that's it. I'm sorry, and this is not to be disrespectful to anybody, but really? Yeah. Was that all I was put on this earth to do? I didn't have any other contributions to society or any other impact and influence in people's lives or directions or, spearheading this. I want my stuff to read like a short autobiography.
A little short ad, like we about to start another show.
On this and all the people that I've touched,
right,
to be there to attest to that. He changed my life with this. He met my mom. I never had a chance to meet. You know what I'm saying? That's what life's about.
Yeah,
that's
it's that
potential.
That's the impact. Maya Angelou said it in the conversation with Oprah, and I listen to all kind of stuff when I'm in the gym, where I listen to all kind of stuff all day. But she made a good point, Maya Angelou. She said that it's not enough to live during your time. you have to get involved with your time. We have to impact. We have to show each other the ropes. We have to, share we have to have the courage. And that's different than being brave. We have to have the courage to tell our life story. That's when we think of the Bible, when we think of how-to guides, it's just somebody's parable on a take of a story that we can say, you know what? That was the way that they did it. It's possible. We don't have to do it their way. We don't have to outline it the way they did it. We don't have to talk to them to make sure it's done correctly. It's just letting people know that it's a possibility. We can get it done. We can get there. There can be an ending that we like, we can subscribe to, and that we are appreciative and love the outcome from. So I'm 100% with you. If nothing else that you guys take from this conversation, be yourself, understand your story, work to be a better you, because then you're going to position yourself to make sure that other people can be better than them. They can be the clearest version of their self. And hopefully that's just a work of it. I appreciate this relationship that you and I have, because even the days that I want to kind of slack off, I look to the left and I'm asking you, what you do today? Oh, I'm reading a book. Let me get up and read the book. I know I was supposed to read this book anyways. Let me get up and write. Let me get up and do this. The relationships in my life, if they're not fueling me to be the 1% better every time I talk to them, or every day, or if they're not putting me in a position to grow, to eat, to get to the bag, to service people, whatever it's going to be, not good relationship. So if we can't do anything else as we close the year out, let's reflect about ourselves and figure out, where are you really going? Put it down on paper, get the vision out there, and let's start working on something purposeful. Because if we find working on something purposeful, we're not doing all the intermediate stuff that's leading to a lot of casualties out here.
And then not only that, and I'm not saying that you shun or shut people down that, oh, let me tell you what happened today. And they got all these stories of just, horrific events, right?
Yeah.
I get that. Being able to listen to someone is important, but let's encourage those people how to move forward. And next time you contact me, I want a success story. Tell me what went well today.
Yeah.
Tell me how you're putting yourself and your best foot forward. Last year this time I was down bad, but right now, I'm 4 classes into my undergrad degree and I got a straight A's. Let's start having those conversations and perpetuating that narrative forward, because I get tired of, I don't know how I'm gonna pay my bills. I don't feel good. Let me tell you what my mom did. I don't want to hear that. I'm gonna be frank with you. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me what you did to put yourself and make your life and those around you better?
Man.
And let's start from there. Let's build from there. Let's talk about solutions, not the problem. I don't want to have those conversations because it's an energy drain. I only have so much capacity and bandwidth, and I'm not going to delegate any of it towards that, period.
Facts. And that's a good place to end on, Joe. You ain't wrong. Anybody who start off with, hey, how you doing? Or anybody start off with something negative, my next question, I think it's on autopilot. Tell me 2 good things that happened today. You got to find something good to talk about, dude. I used to be the person that once somebody shared their negative story, and it could be realistic. It could be real life. It could be exactly what's going on with them. I didn't know how to separate it so that it's not negative to me, so it don't change my energy. Now I'm at a better place where I can hear somebody say something negative and I know how to keep rolling in my own energy. But that's not an instant learn. You have to get to a place like that. So for people like that, and I guess being a coach, I kind of know how to sit with it. You got to give it back to them and say, you know what? Yeah, that was all negative. You outlined that perfectly. Now what? What are you gonna do? Or what was done that is also great. So I'm 100% with you in the game. Let's have conversations that's gonna make you get to your next play.
Ken, let's just think about this. Last thing. Just think about this from a corporate work setting, relationship setting, anything. Wouldn't it feel better if your significant other or your colleague came to you and said, I went and did X, Y, Z. And you like, dang, for real? Mm-hmm. And then they followed up and said, because I noticed the negative was happening. So they're coming to you with the solution that they were preemptive or proactive on because of what they found out was negative. I went and bought a new vacuum cleaner for the house because I noticed the one that I was using before kept leaving the floors dirty, and you were always complaining I wasn't cleaning up or I wasn't doing. You know what I'm saying? Like come to me with what you've done because of the negative, and that's going to structure the conversation a lot differently. You're going to have a different level of respect for that person.
Yeah. And a starting point.
The energy.
Yeah, and a starting point. Like when somebody gave you negative first, it's like, where do we start? You know what I mean? Yeah. But somebody come in with a solution, at least we got a foundation to build from. Even if it ain't the right solution forward, we got a place to
start.
Thinking
the right way.
Right.
Mindset there.
Facts. Man, good conversation per usual. Good way to end the year. This is our last episode of the 2020 year, and this is the original Classic Talks session. Really big thanks to you, Mr. Finance. Just continuing with the team at NPM Entertainment. Thank you for making this possible. I want to do a quick audience call. The audience we're looking for, one, we want to say Merry Christmas to everybody, but the audience we're looking for, we want to make sure that you know that this is the holiday to be best, to be your clearest version of yourself. And we're looking for people who are thinking uncommonly, that want to move from thinking small to thinking big, that want to move from the negative to a solution right out the back with their conversation. So we appreciate everybody who takes their time to listen to Classic Talks, take something from it, share it with somebody that is useful for. But if nothing else, use it to make plays. There's a lot of good free game in these conversations, and they help hundreds, thousands. They help a lot of people. We are in a good place to make sure that we all see our next level. So I'm hopeful that is you as well. I am Dr. Classic, and I'm working with Mr. Finance, my partner here at Classic Talks Podcast. We look forward to seeing you in the new year for our season 2. We will put all of the contact information, coaching information. We'll put that in the panel below just so you can click on it, get in contact with us. But if nothing else, continue to make plays.
One day I'll be on top of the world. Yeah. That's just how I feel right now. It feels